I am so excited right now. I am sitting across from Heidi Dean. Heidi Dean is a social media strategist specifically for actors. Heidi was a working actor for over 20 years, so she gets it. She has combined that industry experience with up-to-date, cutting-edge social media strategy to really help actors make connections and make an impact online. She's also the author of the book Social Media for Actors, 100 Essential Tips to Grow, Thrive, and Survive Online. And most importantly, she is sunshine personified. And we are so lucky to have her here today. The one and only Heidi Dean. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
The honor is mine. Before we start talking all things social media, I just would love to know a little bit about your background and kind of share with everybody what your journey has been like to becoming essentially the queen of social media for actors.
I'm laughing that you're calling me the queen because somebody just sent me this last month in my P.O. box. Says
Stop
social
it.
media queen. I'll have to make sure isn't that hilarious? I'm like,
Yes.
Where did they make this? Like this is, it's like one of the best things I've gotten in my P.O. box.
That is amazing. The literal queen.
Well, I've been doing this a long time. Like I said, I did get started as an actor. I grew up in sunny Southern California. I joined SAG back when it was just SAG years ago. By the time I was 13, I went to NYU for acting. So I moved from California to New York and then acted another 10 years after that. So I understand the perspective of how challenging it is to juggle, day jobs and acting class and all the things. And now you have to do self-taping and virtual auditions and you're being told about social media. And I've also been doing this a very long time in the social media world. I got my start in social media management. I was really running accounts for casting directors, for producers, for actors. And now this was over a decade ago. So been in the social media world a long time. And really, because I was running these accounts for these people, I was firsthand witnessing actors making the same mistakes every day on social media. And at the time, I realized nobody was helping them. There was nobody, unless you were famous, you didn't get any kind of online media training. And that's when I started marketing for actors. And that's the number 4. That's when I started the blog. And it really was just trying to help actors better navigate and thrive in this online world that, from my perspective, most of them didn't know how to post. Their first impression wasn't great. They're networking. They were approaching it totally backwards. And I know because they thought they were networking with certain people and it was really little old me, right? And within 6 months, the blog just took off because, like I said, there was nobody really helping them. And it started with the blog and then hundreds of articles, hundreds of videos later, here I am, speaking, on podcasts, SAG-AFTRA, Actors Equity, SAG Foundation, film festivals. I've helped thousands and thousands of actors through coaching classes and Tech Savvy Actors, which is how I met you.
I'm not a good student. I need to show up more. I wanted to just say on behalf of all actors everywhere, thank you, because it's true. This is an area that I get so many questions. Here at Stanker Studios, we do these things called career corners, where I sit down and jam with actors about all things business. So usually that's tied to their package, headshots and demo reels, and just ways that they can open the door for themselves in their career. And as you can imagine, social media comes up a lot. And so there are a lot of questions that I receive, and I would love to get sort of Heidi's hot take on some answers to these. And so if you're cool with it, I'd love to fire some of these at you. One that I hear a lot is this sort of stopper of, I'm an actor, but I have no interest in being an influencer. It's not my thing. I don't have a ton of time to commit. I'm just not down for that. So what's the point then? To those actors, why is social media important for them? And is there something perhaps small that they could do to use social media to their advantage?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to post every day to be successful on social media. And I know that's where some of this conversation comes from. I don't have time for that. Really, how you use social media depends on your goals, but you do need to realize it is 2025 at the time of this recording, and social media is part of the business. We've got social media guidelines, requirements, and contracts. If you do theater, Instagram takeovers happen all the time at all different levels. So it's just part of the business. So you may have to use it in some capacity at some point. Also, it's part of your first impression in this business. This business is virtual. People are looking you up all the time, and this business is a business of referrals. Whether they're going straight to social media or they're doing a Google search for your name, guess what is the first thing to pop up in a Google search? Bio and all, your social media. So, if you're using it, make sure it looks professional. Make sure it shows us who you are. And I don't say that to scare you, because I really believe like you're in complete control of your first impression on social media, where there's a lot of things in your acting career you don't have control over. But you do. I look at Instagram as it being like the movie of you. Like you are the lead, the director. You get to cast your supporting characters. You get to decide what parts of your story or your movie are on the cutting room floor. You get to really decide how people see you. And that is power, right? But do make sure that what you're showing us is professional, reflects your essence, and shows your talents. I think the number one reason to use social media, it's not followers, it's building relationships. Hands down, social media is the best tool to help you build relationships. There is nothing better, and nothing better where you can consistently stay top of mind with people in the business who already know your talents, and nothing better to meet new people. Somebody, please DM me if you know something else, right? And your relationships, they are your career. They always say in this business, it's who you know, but really it's who knows you. And social media can help more people know who you are. My favorite phrase is your network is your net worth. As an actor, your network is your net worth. And social media can do two things. They can help expand this network so you can meet new people. You can literally put yourself in circles of people you want to know, people telling stories that you want to tell. You can meet these people online. But really where I see social media increasing this net worth as an actor is because you have that ability to stay top of mind with the people that already know you, people you've already worked with. Are the quickest way to book new work because they already know, like, and trust you. And if you can set up a system on social that you stay top of mind with these people every time you're done with a job, that means more opportunities, more auditions. I've seen it happen over and over again. You've got to really consistently maintain those core connections between the auditions, between the bookings, because you'll be more top of mind for projects. I've seen it happen again and again.
It's literally everything. And I'm so happy to hear you say that, because I find so many times that as actors, we are reaching for what we feel like we don't have yet. We're constantly chasing the next thing. And sometimes if we would just stop and look at what we've already built or who we've already connected with, we could already have all of the keys and the tools that we need to have the career of our dreams. But instead, we're just continuing to reach. So that is such a beautiful way to phrase it. We can just go home now. Thank you. Thank you for today. Another thing that I hear often is, okay, yes, I'm an actor. I'm down. You've sold me on what you just said, but I don't think that I'm funny. Comedy is not really my thing. So what do I do on social media? How do I show up?
Yes, because not everyone is as funny as Angela here. And please, we got to tell everyone your social media. She's hilarious. Go check out her Instagram. If you like Taylor Swift, go check out her Instagram. But there are so many different ways that you can use social media to reach your goals. And you don't actually have to use it as a virtual stage, which is what I'm seeing you do. Some people do want to use it as a stage and do sketch comedy and funny POVs. And, some people do, like Angela. And that is totally cool, but that's not for everyone. And you don't have to use it that way. You can use it completely for networking. 100%. So what we just talked about, that is totally okay. But one thing all actors need to do before they start saying, oh, I'm going to do comedy or I'm going to post about this, you got to get focused on how you tell your story on social media. And we could actually spend an entire episode just on this topic, but I'll give you like a tweetable version of what our listeners need to do. So with my clients and my students, we try to figure out the 2 or 3 things that are going to help tell their story on social. And yes, one is acting. So one is your bookings. One is your journey as an actor, right? The acting thing. But you have to let us into something else so we actually truly connect with you. You have to know people in the industry, when they're looking you up, they want to know something beyond acting. And your followers, most of them, as you grow a following, will not be actors. And we need to connect with you beyond the projects you book. So I want you to figure out those 2 or 3 things that are going to help tell that story. So who are you? Are you an actor who is also a mom? Are you an actor who likes animal rescue? Are you an actor who does sketch comedy? Maybe that's the thing. Maybe you're a voice actor who's obsessed with the 90s. It's different for everybody. And what happens when we're targeted with our story is it makes it easier for those algorithms you hear about on social media to know what your account's about and to find an audience for your account. And it makes it easier to post because you have structure for what to post about. So if you're listening to this now, really think about what it is for you. Yes, you're an actor, but what is that other thing that's going to make you human and help tell your story and find an audience? That's the first step. The next thing that is really helpful to define, that's going to bring us right back to the comedy question, is you got to define your vibe. Because, hey, for Angela, that might be to make us laugh. But for others, maybe your account isn't that. Maybe it's more motivational. Maybe you want to inspire us. A great example of this in action is Ms. Kim Hale on Instagram, on TikTok. She is amazing. And yes, she is sharing her story as an actor, pursuing her dream of being a dancer on Broadway. She's also sharing this journey of being an actor that's just turned 57 years old, following her dream and sharing with us that it is never too late to follow our dreams. So we've got her journey as an actor, but we also have this value, this other thing we can relate to, and it's super motivational and inspiring. Her account's not funny. Sorry, Kim. Maybe occasionally, but it's really motivational, inspirational. Or maybe you make us think. Maybe every time you show up online, you're that person that I learn something. I have a good friend that was on Jeopardy, and every time I hang out with him, I learn something. So his Instagram would make us think in some way. Or maybe you have more of a relaxed, chill vibe. So really what you need to identify, and this is where all your social media starts with, is you got to get specific about how you tell the story. So you're an actor, and what else, and what's your vibe? And that's going to help you identify, like I said, what to post. You're going to get focused about what audience you want to attract. And it's going to help you realize you might not have to be funny on social media. So many ways to tell your story.
Love. Perfectly stated. Thank you. So tweetable. Let's say I'm an actor and I do have a following on social media. How do I then make that transition from, how do I sort of leverage that to help my acting career?
Yeah, well, if you do have a large following, I'd say number one, get a social media agent, hands down. They exist. Most agencies have now somebody that helps with influencers. So yes, now we're talking about an actor who's also an influencer. Have them negotiate brand deals. Have them find opportunities for you and collaborations for you. And don't be shy about it with your commercial and theatrical reps, because you having an audience is a very powerful thing.
How many followers are you talking for?
It really depends. I mean, I've seen micro influencers that have 10,000, but have very targeted audiences and ridiculous engagement. So most of the time we're talking much larger, 100,000 or even 50,000 if your engagement's really good. But we're not talking like 1,000, 2,000 for the most part. And because you don't, especially if you're an actor and you're also a commercial actor, I find getting a social media agent could be really helpful because you don't necessarily want to be negotiating all your brand deals on your own when you could also be a face for that brand as an actor. So it's a very different road than the average influencer that might not be in a union, might not have ever thought like, I want to be on a commercial, I want to be on a TV show. So having that person that understands both sides is really important. And I find followers, it's such a sticky subject for so many actors, but I do want to put it out there that you have to realize this is a business, and it always has been. And it's always been a little bit of a popularity contest. You know, who can sell the tickets? Who puts butts in the seats? Who gets the ratings? It's important for you to know that's nothing new, actually. We just have different metrics now with social media. It's important to be said. I don't always like to say it because I get hate mail, but it's actually the fact, you know, it's just fact that that is how the business works. You guys are all in the right place. If you're studying at Stan Kursk, at the end of the day, what's most important is your craft. You have to be able to deliver.
Yeah, we talk a lot here about business, craft, and mindset sort of being of equal importance in this pursuit. And so we're not afraid to talk about the stuff that's not glamorous. Like, yeah, followers can help you greatly. We'd rather tell it like it is. So I appreciate the honesty there. Great. Now, social media feels broad and sometimes overwhelming. We've got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, X, Threads. What even is X? Okay, Twitter. Like, how do we decide where to focus our energy? As actors, we're oftentimes split between survival jobs and auditioning and just all of the things that can take up an actor's life. In knowing that we have sort of limited time potentially to dedicate to this, how is it best to decide where to focus that energy?
Yeah, great question. And if you are like brand new to using social media, you still need to figure it out. I mean, start with one platform and learn to totally rock that one platform, then spread yourself thin trying to learn and maintain 4 totally different social networks at once. There are certain questions I always say that we should ask when we're deciding to use a social network. This year alone, I can't wait to see how many social networks we have, especially like text-based platforms like Threads and X, and that's where we're at. So it's really important that you know what questions to ask to know if you really should be there, because if not, you are just going to be spending all your time on social media and not your time on your self-tapes and acting. So number one, I always ask, will this platform help me reach my career goals? So is it even useful for your acting career, or are you just on it? Maybe you're on Facebook because you've been on it since the beginning, but maybe it's actually zapping all your energy. It's not helping you meet new people. And it's maybe, you need to use video and you're better served on Instagram or TikTok. So really ask, is this platform even helping me reach my career goals? If networking is important to you, which I imagine for most people it is, do the industry pros that I already know, that know, like, and trust me, do they spend any time there? If you're not on the right platforms for you to stay top of mind with your contacts, then you're just wasting time. Also, if you are using social media to meet new people, are the agents, casting directors, producers, showrunners, writers, who do you want to know? Are they on this platform? I see a lot of people just deciding, well, I'm not going to use this platform anymore and I'm leaving Meta and all that. And for whatever reason you want to do that, that is fine. But you really do need to ask yourself, wherever you're moving to, do the people you know and want to know, are they even playing there? Or you might just be wasting your time right now. Be better you just focus on your acting class. And then for working actors, you're working on show, movie, project. Think about the show you're on. So especially, obviously for a series regular or recurring, where are the fans of the show? Because you might find that it would better serve you to be on a different platform, because all the fans of the show really play over on X or over on Instagram, right? It's going to be a little bit different for everybody. So will this platform help me reach my career goals? Do the people I know in the industry and want to know spend time here? If you're on a show, in a project, are those people even here? And then lastly, big important question, after you've learned the 101, after you are trying to learn how it works, do I actually enjoy this platform? Is it a platform I actually enjoy? Because you'll never get good at something you don't. And a lot of times that just comes back to what are your strengths? Some of us are better at videos than others. And I'm talking about after you learn how, right? But some people, they're going to thrive better on a platform like Threads or X. I have a lot of writer clients and comedians that prefer to be on a platform like that, that's more text-based than video. And so, is this a platform I actually enjoy? And really thinking about what your strengths are sometimes help you decide whether you're playing in the right place.
Thank you for saying that, because nobody is forcing us to chase this career, to live this life. And so enjoying the process is so important. And I think sometimes we can just assign social media as a thing that feels like it's over there and already decide that it's not fun. But I think educating yourself and learning that 101, like you're talking about, you can give yourself a chance to be surprised by it and maybe find that you actually do love it, and to see which platform might be the best for you. I love those parameters you just gave. So thank you for that.
No problem. Well, I always see actors in two different ways. There's two groups of actors. There's actors that look at social media like a stumbling block, like something they have to do. Why do I have to do social media? This is just a waste of time. I should be acting. And then you have the actors that look at social media like stepping stones to more relationships, to being a virtual stage, to more opportunities for their career. So really, you've got to make that switch from social media being a stumbling block to a stepping stone to see any results. Every time I work with an actor that is resistant, they're looking at it like a stumbling block, and you just got to make that switch.
Consider me the emoji where the head is exploding right now, because I love that.
It's in the beginning of my book. So if you read the intro, I talk about that in the intro to my book, is the difference of the two actors. And don't even read the rest of my book if you don't make the switch, because it'll be a waste of time.
Yeah. So well said. I love what you said earlier too, because I think it's such a reminder that we need to get clear on who we're wanting to connect with and what shows we want to be on, and how do we know who we're trying to meet anyway. Sometimes I feel like actors are just sort of throwing spaghetti at the wall of I'll meet anybody that'll give me an opportunity. But the more you can get specific with what you want, find out where they're hanging out, then you can really use this to your advantage. So we hear a lot about sort of consistency being key in social media. Why is that? And what do I do if I feel like I don't have enough ideas to be consistent all the time? What would you say to those actors?
Yeah, well, there's two big things I'm taking in from that question. Well, first, most actors, they don't have enough ideas because they've given no thought to how to tell their story, which we just talked about, right? They just think, oh, it's about acting, but they haven't figured out that other thing. So when they show up, it is just like they're throwing spaghetti at the wall. I call it spaghetti posting. And it's hard to be consistent if you don't have a plan. It's pretty impossible, actually. So that's the first thing that came up with this question for me. And the second thing I'd say, and it's a frustration I hear from a lot of actors, is I feel like the word consistent is thrown around a lot in the social media world. Just go to Discover, go to Explore, and you'll find some marketing expert talking about how to be consistent with your posting on social media. But consistency is key for being successful at anything. It really is. And when we're talking social media posting, I feel like the word consistent gets confused a lot with the idea of posting every day. And being consistent with your posting does not mean that you have to post every day. In fact, I'm very outspoken on my Instagram that I believe like 99% of actors don't need to post every day. And many actors feel pressure to post daily because they see influencers and brands doing it. But most of these brands and even some of these influencers, they have full-time social media managers, right? So like you can't compare yourself to this person that is posting consistently every day. What you have to find is you've got to find your posting rhythm or your posting cadence that works for you and your actor's life. And it's so important because the number one thing I get asked is how often should I post as an actor? And it's different for everybody. So I'd like to say, when you're trying to figure out how to be consistent with your social media and your posting, first of all, ask yourself, how much can I realistically post without feeling completely overwhelmed? And can I stick to the schedule long term? Two really important things. So, how much can I realistically post without burning out, with being overwhelmed? And can I stick to this long term? A lot of people forget that second question and then they burn out.
I have been guilty of this.
I mean, we all are. And actually, I'll tell you about a little experiment I'm doing on my social media. I just broke it on a podcast this morning that's coming out, and I'm breaking it here. So we'll see who publishes first.
Oh my gosh. Go, Kristyn, go.
So always take into account like what you do for a living, right? You're an actor. That is always number one. So when we're asking how much can I realistically post, between self tapes and acting class, right? And set life and life, don't forget about life. Ask yourself, how much can I post without it taking over my actor's life, without it affecting your mental peace, without burning out? Is that 3 times a week, once a week, every day? Some people it's 2 times a day, but it's different for everyone. I am not that 2 times a day person. So this experiment that I'm talking about, you might have heard me talk about it in Tech Savvy Actress. So I just finished it. I did an experiment for 5 weeks. And yes, my goal was to post 5 days a week on my Instagram feed, meaning reels, mainly reels, actually, static posts and carousels, but leaning into video. Here's what I had set up ahead of time and my rules for this. I had all the content done ahead of time. Actually, I had enough content for 10 weeks. The experiment was to see if I would grow faster. That's what this was. I originally was posting 3 times a week. That's my normal rhythm. So I was adding 2 more posts a week than I usually do. I just finished, so I don't have numbers yet, but the quick answer is yes, I grew much faster.
Wow.
But number one, I had a strategic content plan. So I wasn't just randomly trying to up it. But what's really important for all you to hear is that posting cadence or rhythm of 5 days a week, even though I was totally prepped with content even for weeks after, was too much for my life. I'm a business. I have a lot of clients, students. I'm a mom to an awesome 10-year-old, Tallulah. Shout out to Tallulah. And I'm a wife, my husband's an actor and a narrator. 5 days of posting doesn't just mean posting for me. It means engaging too. Mm-hmm. And that's what got me, is for me to post 5 days a week and then engage with all my comments and my direct messages. It just started to be too much for my life. And no amount of new followers were worth that. Even though, shout out to all my new followers. I love you. But looking forward, I'm asking myself those same questions. Yes, my goal was to grow in this experiment, but you need to find a cadence of how often to post and a consistency that's going to help you reach your goals, but also fits into your life. So for me, I'm thinking 4 posts, mainly videos, is going to be better for me to have that steady follower growth, but also not burn out and not be like, oh my gosh, I'm working more. I want to be with my daughter. I want to be with my husband. Does that make sense with consistency?
Thank you for sharing the importance of balance in your life as well. I think so many times as actors, we feel that I'll go work local hire in any market. I'll go jump on a plane tomorrow to get over here. Like, I'll do anything. Let me post. We tend to swing the pendulum so far and then lead ourselves to burnout. And the importance of living a full life outside of just this pursuit. Thank you for shedding a light on that, because I think it is so important and something that is worth talking about. Also, thank you for doing that experiment so we can learn from that experience. It's great. Wow, you answered that beautifully.
And actually for you, I'll give you a little spoiler alert, because we've been talking about pop culture a lot. The things that were driving my account and my follower growth, where I leaned into pop culture 100%. 100%. Not even learning social media, like 100% a celebrity, pop culture to reach more audiences.
Oh, really
We're like
good to
talking
know.
cryptically right now, but
I feel very lucky. Thank you. I have so many follow-up questions, but I want to get back to more actor questions. I can squeeze as many of these in as possible. You are so beautifully branded online. I can picture the yellow color. I can see it all in my mind's eye. Is that something that I, as an actor, would also need to do? Do I need to sort of bring on a graphic designer or an editor? Could I do that myself? Is it important to have one consistent brand? How do I decide what that should even look like? Where do we go with this?
Yeah, this is where I think knowing your vibe is so important, because people do call me Heidi Sunshine. And like, so I've incorporated yellow. I incorporate, these are like my colors, Instagram pink, like that Twitter blue. Those are my colors. And I try to integrate them as much as possible. I find like, even when you're putting together your bios, like think about like if emojis are your thing, like can you use emojis that help us feel your energy, help us feel your vibe, to have us understand that even more. Now, I have no background in like graphic design, anything like that. In fact, if you scroll back through my feed used to be a whole lot prettier, but I've also realized through clients and through testing that it didn't make a difference with me growing my following when I had like that, all my thumbnails look beautiful. It really just took up extra time. Now, I do use consistent colors. Rainbow is a very common theme in all of my stuff as well, for many reasons. Having that beautiful aesthetic feed isn't as important as it was before. Now the video is queen. It's not as important. But I do think, if you are putting yourself out there, you should know colors that work with you, work with your vibe. Do you need to hire someone for that? If you have the money, go for it. But I mean, there's an app for everything you need to do on social media. And my favorite app that does everything is Canva. I'm obsessed with Canva.
She says apologetically, Canva.
Canva, if you don't know it, canva.com. It can help you with color palettes. It can help you with fonts. It can help you with branding. There's so much there for you. There's so many templates, whether it is a real cover or a YouTube thumbnail or across social media. We've got those big headers on a lot of social media platforms. They'll design them for you there. I mean, you'll do it, but they'll give you a template that you're just going to drop your photo in and change a couple colors. So do you need to hire someone? You have so much money that you shell out as an actor for things like this. The best way is to try to learn it yourself with an app like Canva, unless you have the funds, of course. But don't be afraid to use apps. Canva. Another one I do like for posts that I've used for a couple of years now too is Mojo. They have a lot of cool Reels templates too, and cover photos and highlight covers and all that. So I'd say those two apps might help replace a designer. Still love to all the designers out there, but
absolutely. Immediately going to go look up Mojo after this. Great. So you alluded to this at the beginning when you said that you see actors making the same mistakes on social media all the time. Any one or two of those that you can toss our way so that we can make sure that we don't fall in that category of actors?
Yeah, well, I mean, they tend to fall into kind of three major categories. So, not cleaning up your first impression. Huge. Like, this is a business, people are looking you up. Let's make sure that when they arrive there, you've set up shop. It's like, I feel like some actors are inviting us to their social media, and it's like they're inviting me to their house and they don't even have a couch. They don't have a chair. Like, nothing is set up. You have no bio. Like, why am I going to follow you if I don't know what you're posting about? So that's where the first big mistake is really just not setting up shop. Like, clean up your first impression. It's important. Then I'd say posting. Not having that clear posting strategy, which we've been kind of talking about off and on, is another biggie. And we could get more specific. Actors spoil their projects, all sorts of stuff like that. But that's not every actor, So yes, don't post about a project until you're allowed to. But then that third category, I'd say, where mistakes fall into is with networking. So many actors treat their online networking is like completely different than how they would network in person. I see actors just going up to people, like literally DMing, and they're DMing me too for auditions. And I'm like, did you read my description? I'm not going to get you any auditions. Tagging people in posts that are not even in the post just to get noticed. These are like pushy marketing tactics that do not work in like 99% of cases. Also with networking, I feel like actors sometimes like they only focus on, I call them the Spielbergs. They want to know the biggest director, the biggest person who might not even be running their social media. They're not even thinking past that. They might not be running their social. If they have a verified account, how they're seeing things is a little bit different. You might not even end up in the right inbox. So don't focus on just the Spielbergs. Think about who you want to know, who tells the stories you want to know, and think a little bit down from that. It could be a casting associate. There's so many people, especially if you do theater. I feel like there's a million people that bring together a project, and it doesn't have to just be that biggest person that you want to know. Also, just focusing their networking on casting directors. I love casting directors. Some of my best friends are casting directors, but there are so many other people that you can get to know on social. It kind of goes with the Spielberg. So don't just think up here like the biggest anything, and broaden out who your collaborators are and get to know them in their circles, because you're going to have a whole lot more success than if you're just focusing on casting directors. Don't hate me. You know, it's true. You know your tag post, you see it.
It's true. We see actors sort of flooding the gates of the casting director's doors, and there are so many more people actively involved in the projects that we want to be a part of. And thank you for the reminder that this is human to human connection. Even though this is a digital space, we are still just a person talking to another person that all want to just work together to create big art projects. That's all we're doing. And when we remind ourselves of that, I think the way we would show up in a room, to think of that's how we should show up on social media too, in making those connections. That's another light bulb moment for me. So thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
Any sort of misconceptions about social media that we may have missed in that?
Yes. You have to know, like when I speak on stage, I know when I step on that stage, more people hate what I'm talking about than like it. It's such an interesting place to be, right? Even on a podcast, I know more people are resistant to it than like it.
But this is why you're the perfect person to sort of provide guidance, because it is impossible to not be drawn to the magnetic joy coming from you. And you can make this process more joyful, which I think gives us all permission to try stuff and to learn more. So thank you for being the voice for that.
Well, thank you. I'd say misconception, right, about social media. That really the biggest misconception I'd say in this business is that it is all about followers. It's not just about followers. When I say it's all about people with networking, it's all about people. But also the way I see actors approach this idea of like, I want to get followers, it's like they're approaching their followers like a number on the screen instead of a person. These are actual people. And you're not just growing numbers on a screen. You're growing a community, beyond those numbers. Those followers, they're just like you. They're just like me, right? And they each have their own struggles and aspirations and dreams. And when you start making that switch, it really does change how you grow a community. And it seems so basic, but it's important. I mean, I always talk about if you have like 400 or 500 followers, that's pretty much like a 747 airplane. That's a lot. Like, think about that. If you have, I think it's about 3,500 followers, that's the audience comparable to the Oscars. 3,500 followers. That's a big room. And if you're at around, it's 18,000 followers, that's like filling the Hollywood Bowl. So that's a whole lot of real people. And if you want to see real results, you got to start treating them like people and not numbers. And that comes down to engagement, even just like a little homework time for everybody here listening. Like, stop just thinking about numbers. And when was the last time you dedicated 5 minutes to go engage in the comments on your post, or hop into the people following you and go engage in their post and show them some love? Share some people's post that might be people that you follow. It's not just about you. It's about engaging and giving back to other people and making these meaningful connections. So when you really make the switch from like, it's not just about numbers, it's about human beings, it affects your networking. It affects how you show up. It affects how you grow a following online, even as simple as that.
That's so great. And I think these comparisons of like, 300 to 500 followers being a plane and like the Oscars and the Hollywood Bowl. It's just so wonderful to remind ourselves that sometimes we can look at people that have 100,000 followers and think, I'm never going to get there. And so we sort of look at our own, 1,200 followers or 2,000 followers or 500 followers and sort of see that as such a negative and like, well, I don't have anybody, but all of those are individual faces. And that helps to also, I think, with the mindset piece of all this.
I'm going to embarrass you for a second because I would say you are somebody's favorite account online. Okay. Unless you're brand new and you haven't done anything, you are somebody's favorite account online. And you know where I'm going with this. So I was on TikTok one day and I saw this girl talking about that she was so excited that her favorite Instagram account is now on TikTok. Like she had searched many times and you weren't. And it was this girl right here. Right. And she's not the only one. Right. So, you are somebody's favorite Instagram account. So even if you just show up and try to make one person's day, it's worth it. It really is. And it helps you actually view metrics and numbers better too. And just a personal thing in my experiment this last month, I put out a post a couple weeks ago that was about like how to add line breaks to your captions and to your bio. Because if you have an iPhone, like you actually have to hit 1, 2, 3 to get that return button. If you don't know what I'm talking about, replay that and you're welcome. But other than that, a lot of people, they can't, go to the next line for their captions or their bio. It's probably my worst performing post ever, like for views and just for likes. But the amount of people that direct message me, I got people emailing me after that saying, oh my God, you literally, this post changed my life. I have not been able to do that for like 5 years. I had no idea. And usually I would look at that and go, oh my gosh, that post, I thought it was really good. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Like, why didn't this do well? Like we dwell about those numbers. But at the end of the day, that post probably helped more people that are now like, I'm their BFF than something that got tons of views. So it's really going back to this idea that if I can make one person smile or I can fix one problem, make one person happy, I've done my job.
Thank you for sharing that and for the beautiful shout out. As somebody who is an actor who did kind of have a little bit of resistance, I had always used social media as just a scrapbook for me and my friends of just travel and fun times and things. And I didn't really want to think about it from the industry perspective. But I will say that connection with real people for anybody else who does comedy out there, a lot of times we sort of are doing it in a vacuum and don't get that immediate response of seeing something that you're putting out there and responding to it, and the connections that can be made through social media and something like that you just said of that post that didn't necessarily get all the likes, but there's so much value that you're putting out there. And those moments, I think, can keep you going and can make it feel like, oh, this actually is a huge value add in my life, helping others and to make people smile or whatever it may be. Love all of this. As an actor, I have learned so much through your Tech Savvy Actors platform that you have. Can you give us a little bit of insight into what that is? I think it's a great critical space for actors to kind of learn about all of this. And so I'd love for them to know more about it.
Yeah, so people can work with me. I do one-on-one coaching, and I do have online classes that are a little bit more like do it yourself. Then I do have Tech Savvy Actors. It's my little inner community where you learn something new in social media every single month. Plus you get 2 Q&A calls with me, even feedback calls where I look at your posts, I look at your videos before the call, and I give you step-by-step feedback so you can actually reach your goals. So Angela is actually part of that and how I know her.
It's so valuable. I joke that I'm a terrible student because there's so many more things that I would love to be able to show up to. But what you have provided in that space, I mean, if you have a question about any platform, she has everything archived so beautifully. So all the answers are there. It is just a wealth of knowledge. And I'm so grateful that you've put that out there for actors.
Yeah, I call it the Google of social media and actor tech because it's like my site that I set up is completely searchable, kind of like a YouTube or Google, but it's up to date. So you can go on there and not only find out about social media, but it's called Tech Savvy Actors because there's so many other things that are technical as an actor or even video. So it's been really great to work one-on-one with actors and help them with all things tech savvy and social media savvy.
But to have access to you is gold. And where can we find your book? And where can we follow you?
Yeah, so Marketing for Actors, and that's the number 4, has all my links. You can go there and you can find courses. You can get to Tech Savvy Actors there as well. And also, maybe we can put it in the show notes. I feel like postings come up a lot today. And I know having post ideas can take a little bit of the pressure away when you're like, I don't know what to post. And I do have a resource with 30 days of post ideas for actors, totally free. And the ideas, some of them have the actor side, some of them have, the human side that we talked about. But it'd be a great resource for anybody that wants to take a little pressure off of what do I post on social.
When Heidi provides something, you get a lot out of it. It's so wildly helpful, the things that you put out there. So thank you so much for that. Heidi Dean, you are a dream. Thank you for being here. The queen of social media herself, crown and all.
There you go. First time I've worn it.
Yeah. It suits you. Thank you, Heidi. We appreciate you so much on behalf of all of Stanker Studios. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll see you on social.
Bye.